What's up, everybody? Thanks for clicking this video. Thanks for tuning into this channel. My name is Simon Hill, Black American from Louisiana, coming to you live from Budapest, Hungary. It's 12 o'clock, June 23rd, where I am right now, and I am blessed, fortunate, lucky to have my beautiful co-host here, who's also my wife. Say hi, boo.
Aw, that was a cute introduction. But hi, everyone. I'm AKDI, and I'm from Turkey, and we're here to review this movie.
Let's go. So this is a fan request from our longtime subscriber, Mad Villainy, who's in the building right now. He just left a comment and said, Turkish coffee is lit. You want to reply to that?
It is definitely. It wakes you up.
There we go. There we go. So this is the 2009 parody remake action comedy film by Michael J. White called Black Dynamite, a cult classic, and we are here to review it. This is the first time that I've seen it, though I've heard about this film, but I'm very glad my guy Mad Villainy suggested it to us because I do not regret watching it. Actually, tell us about, if you heard about this film, saw it before, heard about it, anything like that.
I did not hear about this movie, and I'm really glad also like Matt Villainy suggested it because I thoroughly enjoyed it. And yeah, like my first impressions, I told you a little bit before yesterday because I watched like 10 minutes of it, and then I couldn't watch it, and I was like, okay, like what is going on in this movie? Because the acting is weird, like it's sort of like parody-ish, but I couldn't like exactly get the gist. I didn't know what to expect. And like right off the bat, even in the first 10 minutes, there were definitely like 3 scenes that I laughed at. So yeah, I really liked it.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I feel like, after watching it, a part of me is like, I want to go deeper into the wormhole of blaxploitation films, 1970s action films, because I feel like there's a lot of history behind this film that inspired this movie. And a part of me feels like almost unqualified to give a critique of it because there's so many references and parts that relate to other films. What do you think?
Definitely. Like also being Turkish, I don't really know a lot about blaxploitation and movies around that time. So I was like trying to do some research and trying to see like what is the history and what is it like about. And I watched like some video essays about it and stuff like that, like just some explanatory things. But I do think like you should give us a brief like explanation of what blaxploitation is for maybe some of the viewers.
Right. So in general, the term basically refers to old black action films from the 60s and 70s, like Dolomite, like Willie Dynamite, like The Mac. And this is just a catch-all term for those sorts of films. Now, these sorts of films were controversial because they were sort of like similar to the Tubi movies of today. They had low budget, they had sometimes bad acting, major plot holes, and stuff like that. But a lot of these films also touched on political issues at the time, social issues at the time, and they were ways for black people, black Americans, to express our frustration living in the white supremacist American system. And a lot of the times in the film, the characters would be fighting against the man, fighting against the power, fighting against the dominant society and stuff like that. And basically, the film sort of like went out of style because a lot of black people, and a lot of the society in general, was like, these films are detrimental to the community. They just show pimps, gangsters, drug dealers, and stuff like that, similar to how people continue to critique like hip hop today. And yeah, the term was sort of like invented as a slur against these sorts of movies, but then eventually it just became, the people started looking back in time and seeing that these films were actually, very good, or at least some of them were very good. That's what I got from my understanding of the film, but in the term. So what about you? What did your research find?
I mean, basically, yeah, the same thing. I looked up a little bit of like the history, and before the 60s, yeah, black people were usually like, in the movies as the mammy figure or like, playing servants and stuff like that. And then with the empowerment acts during those times, they wanted to show like, main characters that has, that are black. But I guess like it sort of like got out of hand when these movies were big hits. Most of them usually were like 1.5 hours, and people just like consumed them. But it created like a stereotype, and it kind of like boxed, black people in that, or specifically like black men, and also black women, I guess, because they're featured in it too, like in certain stereotypes. And then afterwards, like with Spike Lee and directors like that, it's sort of like I guess was seen like uneducated a little bit. And not as serious and not really like reflecting what is the black struggle or black life.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, like you said, and then like it was criticized because of that. And that's what I found. And yeah.
Yeah. Now, with that in mind, because that is true, like before, for a long time in cinematic history, black people were viewed and portrayed as like the servants, the mammies, or other negative stereotypes. But do you feel like this film is a celebration of negative stereotypes about black people?
No, this film is, I mean, a little bit, yes, but it's like, I think this film is kind of saying like, don't take it that seriously, as like saying it to black people, and sort of like celebrating and taking that and making it on its own, and like acknowledging the criticism that, blaxploitation films was getting, and sort of like showing why the criticism was there, because it was sort of like, ridiculous. And I don't know, like, yeah, I guess in a way you can say it's a celebration of like those characters back then, and also embracing the criticism and showing the ridiculousness.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like this film felt like it came from a genuine black place, and I guess it really did because Michael J. White, the main actor who plays Black Dynamite, was the writer of this film as well. And it feels like a film done outside of the white gaze. Like, we don't care what you think about us being pimps, gangsters, drug dealers, whatever. We're going to play these characters and bring them to life and let them be as humorous, as serious, as dangerous as they want to be. And the film also feels like an homage, like a rose given to the films of the past that allowed these black actors to have a career. Because, you know, at the end of the day, all those people who were in the 70s and 60s playing those blaxploitation films sort of allowed a new generation of actors, directors, producers to come later. Like, they laid the foundation. So this film, in my opinion, I don't feel like it's, you know, a negative portrayal of black people. There are some problematic points in the film, and when you just think about it as an audience viewer, and when you think about the fact, even if the film was made outside of the white gaze, like not caring about white people watching it, white people still watch our films. So we still have to be cognizant of like how they will interpret it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think I agree with that. And it's also like not a film that's making fun of those movies in the era of blaxploitation, or it's not making fun of in general like black cinema or black people. It's just like, you know, making jokes with it and then
Mm-hmm.
like having fun with it,
Mm-hmm.
sort of thing. It's not like it's not looking down on those movies.
Yeah, definitely. I would say like they're laughing with them, not at the blaxploitation films.
Yeah.
Exactly. So let's walk through the story, shall we?
Let's go.
All right. So the beginning of the movie like opens up with this malt liquor commercial, a very cheesy commercial about this guy, you know, Anaconda malt liquor, the only malt liquor endorsed by the United States government. And then a woman comes and like sultrily like caresses him while he like continues to film the commercial, and he says, "Anaconda malt liquor, it'll make you go ooh wee." And then in the next scene, there's like a bunch of gangsters who are going up to this car, and the person behind, the person in the car is secretive. We cannot see them; they're covered in shadows. And the man says, "You know, you guys are my best pushers, my best drug dealers, but one of you isn't who you say you are." And then the guy in the middle of the three starts saying, like, "I don't know what you jive turkeys are saying, but I need you to realize that I need to get back to the streets to push my drugs." And then eventually they like kill him. And then a detective comes and says, "My God, do you know who this is? Do you know who this dead man is? He is the brother of the most dangerous man on the streets. There will be blood and blood running, blood running over the sidewalks and hell to pay because this man is coming. And then there's shots of this black man having sex with three different women of three different races. And then he says, "Black dynamite," and that's the intro to like the film. What did you think of like those first 2 or 3.5 scenes or whatever?
Yeah, the commercial was hilarious,
Uh-huh.
and it also had like a social, you know, message as well,
Mm-hmm.
to capitalism, to, you know, white supremacy in America, and all of those things. And then like later on with the shooting scene, I do think it's like not even only a parody of blaxploitation films; it's also like even a parody of, you know, like just in general mafia movies, like even those movies of Scorsese and all of those things.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like then after that, the sex scene is like that's just hilarious. That was just hilarious, and yeah, it's a stereotype obviously, but it's done like so well that you know it's like a joke and it's like they're overdoing it.
Mm-hmm.
And just in general, like what I like about this movie, like even though I'm not like a American person, you know, I'm sure I missed a lot of the things that you caught as a Black American, but I was still able to like catch so many things as well. So I
Mm-hmm.
do think like this is not only a film for like Black audiences. It is made for them, but I'm sure like if other people watch it as well, they will like catch multiple things as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, we were speaking about this last night, or you told me this yesterday. You said that this film reminds you of Turkish films from the past. Can you build on that?
Yeah, I was like referring to the exaggerated like talk, because
Mm-hmm.
also like in older Turkish films, yeah, it's kind of like the same, because like blaxploitation films were criticized about having the same plot, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then like having the same sort of scenes and stuff like that, and that's also what we have in like Turkish movies that are old.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, there's a distressed girl, and then the guy comes and the guy saves the girl from like some trouble, like some family trouble or some lover trouble, and then the girl is um like in love with the guy, but then the guy does something wrong, and then the girl leaves, and then the guy gets the girl back somehow. And like
Mm-hmm.
everything is so like exaggerated. The slaps are fake,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, that's why it reminded me of like old Turkish movies, because
So,
they were also like very low budget.
did they have Turk exploitation like action films like this?
Definitely, there was a series of films called Tarkan,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like this Hun guy, like wearing like sheepskin skirt, like just running around slapping everyone, stealing the sultan's daughter, like running around like on a horseback and all of those things. It's hilarious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I'll,
yeah,
I'll
yeah.
show it to you afterwards, and I'll like put a link under this video, under this like post.
Yeah, definitely. Show it for the people. Let's get some cultural awareness here. But the thing that I noticed about the beginning of the film is how it looks, like just visually, because of the way they filmed it. And I'm on Wikipedia right now, and it seems like they shot this in Super 16 format, which is like the old school way of shooting films. So I love that they did that they made that choice because it's like you really feel like this film was made in the 70s and it looks exactly that way, from the cars to the clothes and also to the way people speak, saying like jive turkey this and and the man that. You get
You
what I'm saying?
dig?
You dig? You feel me? Yes, we
Yeah.
should we bring that slang back?
I mean, I liked it up until like the hour, like for an hour it was good, but then it was like repeated so much that it's sort of like I was like, okay, we dig everyone and everything. Stop
No,
saying it.
no, I like it. We should bring back. Can you dig it? Especially the ending, and we're gonna get to the ending. But I really love the way it's shot because it almost is like, it's like it really feels like it comes from that era because they didn't shoot it, in digital format or with the high-powered cameras of today. It's like they pulled out the film reel. So that's a
Yeah.
beautiful thing. And yeah.
Definitely. Anyone who doesn't know about like this sort of black exploitation or
Mhm.
anything like that, like my parents' generation, if they
Mhm.
watch this, they would think it's like an older movie.
Yeah,
They wouldn't understand it's a parody.
they wouldn't understand it's a parody. Now, speaking of that, of the parody part, I'm going to continue on in the story a bit. But yeah, basically, Black Dynamite is rolling around in his Cadillac car, and he gets a call from a woman named Honeybee, I think. That's one of his main working girls, because Black Dynamite is also a pimp. He's a badass mother effer, but he's also a pimp, and ex-CIA, ex-cop, whatever. And his main girl calls him and says, Nipsey is late on my money. So Black Dynamite goes to somebody's house. This old lady is there. Black Dynamite says, "Is Nipsey there?" And she says, "Ain't no Nipsey here." And then he kicks down the door. The woman goes flying across the living room. He grabs her by the cheeks and says, "Where's Nipsey?" And Nipsey comes, "I'm right here." And he comes out with like some nunchucks or something. And then he kicks Nipsey through the bookshelf and takes the money from him. He then goes back to his like harem where he has all of his working girls, and we see Honeybee, who's played by Kim Wheatley. And I just have to say, I don't mean this in a sexual way, but Kim Wheatley is a beautiful woman. She's an all-star. I grew up watching her on a bunch of different movies and TV shows. She's great. I love her. I love her so much. She's a great actress. And yeah, she cries and says, "Thank you, Black Dynamite," as he brings the money. And yeah, what then happens after that? Do you remember?
Yeah. After that, he basically goes. Black Dynamite goes to have his kung fu session,
Yeah.
and yeah, he's going to the gym, but he's doing kung fu,
Yeah.
and he's like basically fighting like these Asian men,
Hmm.
and then he's about to like just do his kung fu move, which is like slapping the bricks with his
Hmm.
hand, and then right there the phone rings, and then
Hmm.
they say like, and that was hilarious by the way that scene, and he said like, "Who interrupted my kung fu?" or something like that, which was hilarious. And then he learns that his brother was shot. He was dead
Yeah.
by like his grandmother. I don't know who
His
that is,
aunt,
but like older lady.
yeah, his auntie. His auntie calls.
His auntie, yeah, his auntie calls and says like, "This is the only thing your mother wanted, and like if she knew your brother was dead, she would be devastated." This is what she
Hmm.
said on her deathbed. And
Hmm.
then like he has a flashback when his mother was dying, and this is what like his mother says basically:
Hmm.
"Don't let your brother get involved in drugs and get killed."
Yeah, and then there's a flashback to like when Black Dynamite's mother is in the hospital bed, and yeah, there's also a flashback when Black Dynamite says, "I'm your 18-year-old brother, Black Dynamite, and you're my 16-year-old brother, Little Willie, whatever." And I'm trying to get you off drugs. And then there's the next scene of like his funeral, and Black Dynamite is like very sad there. So yeah, the one critique I have of this film, and it's sort of like I feel like maybe this might have been a choice to like parody the films of the past, but it was hard for me to follow the first half of the film and the story because there's an aspect of Black Dynamite trying to chase down who killed his brother, but then they also involve like him trying to find the drug dealers in the community, and there's so many different characters that come. It's hard for me to follow who's who and what's what. So like the first part of the film, even when I watched it twice, it gets a bit confusing and puzzling for me. I don't know. What did you think?
Yeah, I agree. Like I was also like in my head as I was watching it, I was trying to like find the plot
Hmm.
and like just keep the story straight in my head so I didn't like get everything mixed up. And
Hmm.
also I was thinking like, okay, we're gonna review this, so I have to like have the story in my head as well. So yeah, that was a bit like confusing because he also like visits so many people and then
Hmm.
beats them
Hmm.
or like I don't know, shakes them for evidence and stuff like that. That like the people also get a bit confusing. But then we see them throughout the movie multiple times and it gets a bit more clear towards the end. Like
Yeah.
who's who.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But let's go to my god, Matt Villainy. Tell us what you thought of this film, at least for like the first half, when Black Dynamite is trying to hunt down who finds his brother, but then when he's at the funeral, he finds a shell casing and he's trying to like trace down who murdered his brother, but then there's also drugs there. Tell us what you thought.
Freeze turkeys. Yo, the first half was fast paced, and I like the first half more. The second half, I mean, the whole movie is good, but the first half that is my favorite. Um, let's see, I watched it a couple of weeks ago, so I don't have it fresh in my mind, but it's an awesome movie. I love it.
Yeah, I really like this movie too. What do you think about us bringing back 1970s slang? Should we bring back Jive Turkey and you dig it?
Let's see. I mean, I like Jive Turkey. I'll use that.
And what do you think about like how the film was shot like on film, like Super 16 instead of digital?
Oh yeah, that was a good choice. And in fact, that was the only choice to make if you're making that kind of movie.
Hmm. Hmm. Now, I've always thought that Michael Jai White should have been much bigger than what he is because he has the talent, like the action, like he's a great action star, but he also, I think, could do some dramas. Do you feel like Michael Jai White never got like his big break or the shine he deserves?
Let's see. I mean, I think I think he has, because I mean he. I don't think he has any regrets. Like you can watch him on his YouTube channel with his wife, and 100% she's gorgeous. Like I don't know how old she is, but she's gorgeous. But I think she. I mean, I think he is. I think he is loved in the space. Like as far as uh, his fans and whatnot. He's a legit martial artist, and he's been in a lot of movies that display that, and he's been in movies that are outside of that too. I think I think he's good.
Yeah. So, acting, what do you think? Do you feel like Michael J. White, Michael J. White's acting in this film was good? And do you feel like maybe he should have done more bigger roles? What do you think?
I mean, I don't know him from before, but he was definitely really good in this movie. Like he was shining with his acting and like just delivery of the jokes and everything. It was
Yeah.
really good. And it seems like looking at it, like I'm on Google right now, he did like a lot of sort of fighting movies,
Hmm.
right? And some action movies. And it's not really my style, so I don't know what else I can say about him.
Yeah.
And I did also check his wife, and they look like the healthiest, like fittest couple I've ever seen in my life.
That's goals.
Like I don't know, like probably like I don't know, when they have sex it lasts for like 3 hours because they both don't get tired.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah. So I
But
definitely
yeah,
think he could
and
have.
his wife is definitely like gorgeous. Go ahead.
I definitely think he could have done more comedic roles and not just action films because I think he was genuinely funny in this film, like a serious funny, a deadpan funny. But I do think he has comedic chops.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
But carrying on in the story, so Black Dynamite goes home to his house and he puts the gun in like the holster of this giant bear that he has taxidermied in his house. And basically, the police try to break in, but they find the bear at the couch. And Black Dynamite comes from behind the corner with a gun to the police's head. And the police says, "Ah, the old trick from Vietnam. I should have known not to fall for it." And Black Dynamite says, "Oh, Leary." And he puts the gun down. Obviously, they know each other. And he says, "Black Dynamite, you haven't changed since Vietnam." And Black Dynamite says, "I still remember Vietnam. We blew up a village and killed a bunch of kids. And I looked at Chinese kid in his Chinese eyes after his Chinese legs were blown off." And he said, "Why, Black Dynamite? Why?" I didn't understand Chinese, but he said something like "Wang Zhang Zhang," some cartoon shit. It was pretty funny. And yeah, basically, O'Leary says like, the people who killed your brother are like drug dealers or something like that, and you need to look for them or something. I don't know. Do you remember that part exactly what he said?
Yeah, like he's basically, I think he was saying like we don't know who did it, but we don't want you to like go off on a killing spree just to find your brother's killer.
Mm.
And yeah, he was saying like it's bigger than that, like it involves drugs or something.
No, no, yeah, the drugs comes later because he reveals it. O'Leary isn't being fully honest at this point, but he does warn Black Dynamite that if you
Oh,
go out killing people, that we're gonna get on your ass too. And
yeah.
yeah, I like this scene for a lot of reasons. Number one, I like films that have Vietnam in the background because I think it's important we always remember what we did to the Vietnamese people. Firebombed their entire country, raped and killed their women and children and stuff like that. It's always important we remember how evil the United States government is, and no better example is Vietnam. And I like how Black Dynamite looks back at his time in Vietnam not as something heroic, but as something tragic. Like he was a part of the evil empire that is America. So I like that part, and I feel like that touches like the soul of Black Americans because we don't want to oppress other people around the world because we're dealing with oppression in America. Yeah. Any comments you want to say on that?
I definitely agree with you. And I don't know, maybe it's because we've been watching movies that involve Vietnam somehow, but I
Mhm.
feel like everyone is a Vietnam veteran. I don't know. Everyone is like a veteran in the States,
To some degree, but anyway, like
which
Black.
is kind of crazy for a country that never actually went to war.
What do you mean we never went to war? All we do is go to war. I don't understand what you mean.
Yeah, but it's not like someone attacked you and you went to war.
Well,
Y'all always like
Pearl
just
Harbor happened. The Japanese flew planes into a bunch of boats in Hawaii.
okay, except for that, I guess.
Uh,
I don't know.
9 9/11 happened, and we invaded two countries.
Yeah, I feel like those were kind of your fault too. But anyway,
To some degree, to some degree. But yeah, anyway, Black Dynamite then goes to a club where there's like this soul singer singing on stage. All the people are like, clapping for her. Black Dynamite obviously knows her because he goes up to her at the end of the show and says, I can give you some, baby. And she's like, I get off in 15 minutes. And then like he watches her walk away. And then he goes up and sees his main man who's always rhyming all the time. I forgot his character's name because once again, there's so many characters in this film. Do you remember his name? Bullhorn. Yes, it was Bullhorn. So we're introduced to
okay,
Bullhorn, who's also like Black Dynamite's like right hand man, and I believe he's also a Mac too. So he gets a lot of girls, and yeah, he's basically telling Black Dynamite that we're gonna find out who killed your brother, and maybe it's this guy named Cream Corn, like this fake pimp who you need to look at. No, it's not Cream Corn. It's Chicago Wind. See, there's too many characters. But yeah. Anyway, what did you think about that part, if anything?
I think it was Cream Corn first, and then he gets Chicago
Yeah.
Wind from Cream Corn.
Yeah. See, there's so many characters, and anyway.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the continuation of the story, so I don't have like a lot to say about it. I just want to say like all the women in this movie are like shining.
Mm-hmm.
They're all like very pretty, and they have like a good aura, and yeah. I don't know what else like I can say about this scene. Do you have anything?
Yeah, definitely adding on to that, like the big afros, like the psychedelic clothes, everything like that, and also the wardrobes for like the pimps and the players and everybody. It's so fitting for the time. I'm gonna add my guy Matt Villainy. What did you think about the characters and their outfits? And do you feel like there were too many characters in this film?
See, so yeah, I like the outfits are good. The suits and all the for and it's true to the time, the 70s or
Mhm.
whatever time. Too many characters. I don't really think it was too many characters. Maybe I have to give it a second watch, but
Yeah.
I just think that's what it was.
Okay. All right. But so Black Dynamite is told by his partner Bullhorn that there's this fake pimp named Cream Corn that he should meet up because maybe he knows who killed your brother. And so Black Dynamite goes to find Cream Corn in like a hair salon full of women getting his curls done and a manicure or pedicure or whatever. And he's talking a bunch of smack at the salon like he's the biggest pimp in the world. Then Black Dynamite comes and he runs out. He chases. Black Dynamite chases Cream Corn throughout the city and eventually holds him over a building. And Cream Corn then confesses, "Hey, maybe you should talk to this guy named Chicago Wind, who's a big gangster that probably killed your brother." Black Dynamite shows up, faces Chicago Wind, and Chicago Wind is saying like, "Listen, Jack, I ain't got nothing to tell you. Now you get your jive turkey ass out of here before I make your $2 ass change or something like that." And there's a funny scene when it looks like Black Dynamite is like gonna walk away, and he's like disappointed, but then he like flips the open sign to closed on the business and then shuts the door and then throws the guys out of the window. And then there's like the first big fight scene of the film. And yeah, basically he like kicks a bunch of ass and chases Chicago Wind throughout the city in a car chase. But then Chicago Wind like falls off a cliff and burns in his car. Actor, you got anything you want to add on there?
Definitely the highlight of this part was Bullhorn entering as the sidekick,
Yeah.
and then like talking to Black Dynamite with like holding the guy he's fighting for, and then slapping him, and like the guy saying "motherfucker," and yeah, and then like his just movement, looking up, like sort of looking at the camera, like he's doing his head and stuff like that. That was like hilarious. And yeah, also like what kind of name is Cream Corn? That's such a funny name, like a funny street name, I guess.
Cream corn, baby, because I'm smooth.
Yeah, it's all like whack. But anyway, like yeah, that was like funny overall.
Yeah,
What did
I
you think
think
about it?
I think in these old black exploitation films and kung fu films in general, like we suspend disbelief when fights happen because you're like, okay, I'll believe for a minute or this next hour and a half that Jackie Chan really is going to beat up 20 guys by doing karate kicks and flipping over pool tables, right? And the part when Bullhorn like slaps the guy and the guy says "mother effer" and like the camera cuts, it sort of like breaks that disbelief. It breaks that fourth wall that you believe that somebody really could get their ass kicked by kung fu because like that can never work in the street. So I like that little part right there. And I also liked how it was very obvious that Michael J. White was doing his own stunts. Like he was really flipping those nunchucks. He was really kicking the lights out above the pool table. He was doing like all that action. So that was hella cool to see.
Yeah, I did enjoy like all the fighting scenes because they didn't take themselves too seriously.
Hmm.
Obviously, because like it's also like a comedy movie, so that was like appropriate. And like you said, and like he was great. Michael J. White was really good.
Yeah. But once again, it was really hard to follow this first part because it's like, Chicago Wind dies, and then what? Okay, like, yeah. Then there's this big guy who's on the phone, this big Italian mobster who's saying that black son of a bitch, Black Dynamite killed my best drug dealer. I want him dead. And then the next scene is that there's this like Black Panther girl played by Sally Richardson, and her character is named Gloria Gray, and she's like this black radical activist in the community trying to run for the mayor or something like that. And she's given a speech, but her speech doesn't land with the people. And then the suit and tie politician comes up, and he basically does like Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson type rhyming to the crowd, saying like, "We the people need to come together. We don't need to fight the man. We need to make a plan," stuff like that. And the crowd goes like, "Mm-hmm," and we love it. And Black Dynamite then approaches Gloria at the end, or Gloria comes to him as she's leaving. And Black Dynamite says, "I'm not. I don't think the people were like feeling your speech and stuff like that." And Gloria is like, "Well, maybe we can make some change, but we don't need people like you who are only out for cars, clothes, and hoes and stuff like that." But they were obviously flirting, and yeah, there was definitely some chemistry, some spark there. What did you think about that scene?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's like really, I really like the part how they like included like Gloria as a character and like also that scene where it's like a community meeting, and you can see like inside the community a little bit, like even though this whole thing is like a comedy, a parody and whatnot, there is some like reality to it. And once again, there's a social commentary there as well, because just in general, and this is not specific to Black community, people like, you know, politicians or leaders that are like sort of giving them the easy way out or making them like promises that they will not keep. It's like the same in Turkey, right? And yeah, I think it's showing like a little bit of that part of the community, which is like also good because it's coming from the inside. And once again, like Sally Richardson here, she's like gorgeous. And yeah, I really liked the whole addition of like Black Panthers and the community in this part.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask my guy Matt Villainy, what did you think of Sally Richardson's character as Gloria? She was definitely channeling Pam Grier in her prime for this role.
Oh yeah, definitely. Love Sally Richardson. Uh, and yep, she was. Now that you mentioned it, she was channeling Pam Grier, and I mean, she did it. She did a good job.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And moving on in the story, basically, you know, Black Dynamite follows the militants and radicals who are at the community meeting to their headquarters. And he walks into the room and says, you know, who's in charge here? At first, the Black radicals are like against Black Dynamite, and they're saying like, who are you, Jive Turkey, Uncle Tom, son of a bitch, this, that. And Black Dynamite says, I'm more militant than you. I'm more man than all of you. And Black is Ace of Spades. So whenever the revolution starts, y'all need to call me. And then the head boss of the militants comes out and he says, you know, I heard about you killing Chicago Wind and what happened at the pool hall. And I'm here to, you know, tell you that there's a lot of drugs in the community and stuff like that. And we're here to help you fight it and stuff. Acting. Do you remember what happened?
Yeah, he basically, Black Dynamite shows the bullet from the crime scene.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And the head of the Black Panthers guy, he says like this is someone who's working with CIA, because this is the stuff that you can get only like from there. So
Yeah.
Black, yeah. And then Black Dynamite goes to O'Leary, which is like the CIA detective. And then that's when like O'Leary kind of explains what was happening. You know, he says what he was keeping a secret, like saying that his brother wasn't actually like a drug dealer. He was working with the CIA, and he wanted to be like Black Dynamite, but he got shot during the I don't know, undercover work.
Yeah, yeah. See, thank you, Acty, for saving me there, because this first part of the film, it was hard to follow. It was so hard to follow for me, right? But the second half, I promise y'all, I'll show up. But I liked the twist that, you know, his brother wasn't just a drug fiend or a drug dealer, and he was actually trying to mimic Black Dynamite and be like him. And there's a lot to say about like how Black Dynamite in this film is so respected and feared throughout the community and throughout the world, because anytime Black Dynamite shows up in a scene with a new character, it's like they already know who he is. And this is, I was going to say this at the end of the review, but I feel like Black Dynamite is meant to represent the Black rage and Black masculine force that is recognized by the white supremacist society as having the potential for revolutionary change, but is untapped. And to some degree, it's respected and feared. And that's why when he walks into a room with the president already knows who is Black Dynamite, because he's like, you know, I think about you all the time. You're the number one thing that keeps us up at night. What if the niggas wake up? What if Black men actually do start the revolution? What if it is going down today? You get what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Yeah,
You dig
yeah. I dig it. I dig it. And yeah, I mean, we will see later in the movie, like what you said is being supported through like symbols and different things. But I do definitely agree.
Yeah, yeah. But O'Leary gives Black Dynamite his license to kill again, which was just funny. Like, which probably is a real thing too. That's probably a very real thing, like the FBI gives out or the CIA.
Yeah,
But
that was just like, there are so many jokes like here and there. Like there are some obvious ones, there are some like hidden ones. It's just like overall hilarious.
yeah, in general. But yeah. So basically, the Italian drug dealer who's out to kill Black Dynamite, he gets on the phone. We only see him like on the phone, surrounded by like skinny white girls yelling at the phone, saying, "I'm gonna kill Black Dynamite." Black Dynamite then goes to Jimmy's apartment, and then Acty, tell us what happens there.
Yeah, so the apartment has been like torn apart by the gangsters that are looking for Black Dynamite. And yeah, he realizes it. But then like there's like a gunfight there, and Black Dynamite gets shot. And he goes to the doctor, and once again there's like this funny scene where he's like the man that ladies cannot say no to. And he's like almost about to like have sex with the nurse by putting his thermometer in her. And then that's when like the doctor comes in, and this was also hilarious because the doctor is Black Dynamite, I've told you not to do that here. So it's like, Black Dynamite has white privilege.
Well, Black Dynamite says, "Excuse me, doctor, you sent her with these titties. What do you think I was going to do?"
Yeah, and like the white doctor is just like, oh well.
Yeah.
He doesn't really like pay that much of mind.
Yeah, I really liked the doctor. He was so cute and funny, and like he seemed like a funny sidekick for Black Dynamite to have. And
Yeah.
it seems like Black Dynamite always gets shot but this doctor is always able to cure him in like half a scene. So yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, after that, he gets out, and then Gloria is there, like helping some kid called Leon to like get into the hospital, and he's in like the hospital bed, and then like yeah, Black Dynamite is asking her like, who is he? And then she says like it's a kid from the orphanage, and you know she's working in this orphanage, but everyone is like doing smack, and yeah, kids are getting involved in drugs because someone is distributing the drugs, and then like they basically go to the orphanage together, and even though it is very sad, it was also very funny because yeah, like Black Dynamite is like obsessed with orphans because he used to be an orphan. So he's like it feels almost like he's more upset that these kids are orphans than drugs.
Yeah. It was kind of funny when he did realize that the kids were orphans because he said, "I used to be an orphan," and he looks off in the distance, and there's a scene where Gloria is like looking like, What are you looking at?" And there's a flashback of Black Dynamite in school when all the little kids were teasing him, "You're an orphan, orphan, orphan," and then he throws them out the window, which was just funny, which goes to show like he has a pattern, he has a history of throwing people out windows.
Yeah.
I thought that was great, but yeah, go ahead.
This line was also like hilarious because it kind of like shows us how ridiculous some like certain lines were back at the time, and now like they just seem ridiculously funny because the Gloria says like this issue is bigger than you and me, and then like Black Dynamite says it might be bigger than you, it might be bigger than me, but
Hello?
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah, and like yeah, he says it ain't bigger than us. You dig?
Yeah.
And yeah, like all those lines were hilarious. I don't know.
Yeah, very funny lines. To Matt Villainy, any comments on this part of the film?
Yeah, it's like so going back to when he was at the doctor, it's like 100% agree. You sent her in there. You sent her in there. Like, what do you think is gonna happen, right? And nurses do have a reputation, if you know what I mean.
Really? I didn't know nurses have reputations. Actually, did you know nurses have reputations?
No, and that sounds sexist as hell. Sorry, Matt Villainy, but it does.
I'm just saying, it might be, but I mean the stereotypes come from somewhere.
Mm. I think maybe the fetish comes from somewhere, like sexy nurse, sexy teacher, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know.
Yeah. And my mother's a nurse, so
Okay, getting real Freudian up in here.
Yeah, that was
I'm speaking facts.
something.
I'm just speak facts.
I got you. But moving on in the story, Gloria and Black Dynamite leave the orphanage, and they're about to split up. But Gloria says, "I'm about to go get something to eat," and Black Dynamite says, "I'll drive you." So then they pull up to Roscoe's Donuts and Chili, and Gloria goes inside while Black Dynamite stays in the car. But Black Dynamite notices that there's a strange-looking man dressed up as a donut in front of the restaurant. And when Gloria asks the cashier or the waiter, "Can I get some chili for my donut?" Black Dynamite walks inside and shoots the man dressed as a donut. And she said, "How did you know that he was going to kill me?" Because we see a gun laying next to the Donut Man, and Black Dynamite says, "Donuts don't wear gators." Then there's a big shootout with other people who I presume are the henchmen of the big fat Italian drug dealer who's trying to kill Black Dynamite. And Roscoe then says, chili and donuts wasn't working out for me no way. And then they leave. And then Black Dynamite takes Gloria to like his hoe house, his harem, and he brings her. He brings her to Honeybee, who says, "We'll protect her and we'll teach her kung fu, like all of us hoes have been doing." And there's a very funny scene when Black Dynamite is saying, "When if Black Dynamite is in your night," and then one of his hoes comes out, Euphoria, she says, "Everything's gonna be all right," and Dynamite goes off on her, which was pretty damn funny, but out of nowhere. But yeah, Acty, what do you think about those two scenes?
Yeah, that going off scene was absolutely hilarious. I think I watched it like a good 10 times. Yeah, like his acting was like the delivering of the joke and his facial expressions was like so on point. It was like just so good.
Yeah.
And also like it points out the fact that, usually in blaxploitation movies, okay, like there's the, very masculine, hardcore, pimpy guy, and then like the girl falls in love with him. But like I think we're forgetting the fact that he's probably slept with thousands of women, have lots of children, probably might have STDs. So like, in those movies we forget like this type of thing, and it's just like very toxic masculinity. And then like Euphoria coming up from there, like kind of reminding like, hey Gloria, this man like, has been with me and all the other women here probably. And then it's also like funny how Gloria sort of just like continues to say like, oh, I trust you so much.
Yeah.
And it just shows that like ridiculousness.
It does show the ridiculousness of toxic masculinity at the time. Like men were basically really pimping women out and like abusing them, because pimping is abuse at the end of the day, right? And so it was crazy. Like he just went off on Euphoria, and then the next thing Gloria says is, "Oh, Black Dynamite, I can trust you." But it was also a bit perverse because I think in some ways people, men and women, like dominant figures to some degree, right? I don't know if there was that respect for Black Dynamite because he did keep his hoes in check. So actually, I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, I think today I don't think that's something to be respected. But back then, I can understand why it was like that because, yeah, that was like, the only way that we knew how gender roles were portrayed. So I can understand it.
Yeah.
But today it's like much different. So yeah.
Yeah.
Why is it always toxic masculinity? Why?
I don't know. Aki, do you want to go?
I mean, because it was. I mean, it's okay. Like, at the time it was like that. He was like sleeping around with a bunch of women, but he was loved by everyone. So, there is like a double standard there. And he uses his power to get the smart, beautiful girl.
But is it like why can't the women have what do you call it, accountability for themselves? If they don't like something, then just don't do it, and they don't I don't think they're being made to do something.
I think it goes like, okay, I'll just give like this example that I always use it on Simon as well. That like, I don't know, if you think racism is somewhat black people's fault as well, then you can say the same thing about sexism and toxic masculinity and all of those things, if that makes sense. Because
I
there
don't know.
is like some limitation and social prison that comes from being in the system. So it's not that easy saying like if they don't want it, then they shouldn't do it. Does that make sense?
Mm, I'll have to think on it.
Okay.
I think there is an interesting discussion to have about Black Dynamite and the masculinity he does portray because it is over exaggerated to some degree. He is the ultimate alpha male. Every woman wants him. Every man fears and respects him. And he tries to stand up for righteousness. But at the end of the day, he still is a pimp. And he does pimp slap a lot of women in this film, right? And I feel like, the thing that Acti said earlier about, if you think racism, anti-black racism is black people's fault to some degree, then yeah, you could think that, but it's not true. And that's the same way I feel like we should look at women as well. Like, it's easy to say, oh, if you don't want to be a hoe, don't be a hoe. But we live in a world where women are like sexually abused at a young age more than men. We live in a world where women, even if they have the same education, the same opportunities, they don't get the same pay, no matter the career, no matter the field, as men. We live in a world dominated by men, right? And toxic masculinity, or even if you don't want to call it toxic masculinity, the way our world is centered on men only really hurts us as men, right? To constantly try to be the strongest, the biggest, the baddest, the toughest. We eliminate parts of ourselves that allow us to be full human beings, to cry, to have emotions, to have empathy and feelings for others. And that's my view on that. I think there is such a thing as toxic masculinity, but there is such a thing as good masculinity, like Black Dynamite wanting to protect the orphans, get the drugs out of his community, avenge his brother, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. Like there is good masculinity, good femininity. Not every time a woman is like feminine or sexy, it doesn't mean like they're a hoe or they're doing it like just to like, I don't know, use their sexuality. That's not always the case. Just like how, men use their masculinity for protection as well, which is like good. And it's like toxic when it's like sort of like double standard.
Mm-hmm. Right, right. Matt Villainy, you want to build on that?
Nah.
All right, all right. But yeah, there's a lot to actually say about Black Dynamite's masculinity, and I'll just say this as I think there's a certain type of black masculinity that's exhibited in this film that's problematic to some degree, but it's also uplifting to some degree. And I was thinking this while watching the film for the second time, like what is the purpose of action films? Action films, I think a lot of the times are like a cathartic psychic release from like the boringness of our world. And an action film allows you to live out certain fantasies that you have about masculinity on screen. You want to see Arnold Schwarzenegger with big muscles, killing the alien, saving the girl, and stuff like that. And that allows us as men to have some sort of, channel or conduit to reach a higher level of what we think masculinity could be. And I feel like Black Dynamite allows black men to some degree to watch this film and have a cathartic release of saying, yeah, what if we could make our communities better, just by, smacking all the drug dealers? And what if we could make our world better by walking into the president's office and, hitting him with nunchucks? There's like a very psychic, good feeling that you get from watching these things happen, if that makes sense. Acting. Anything you want to add on?
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely like that empowerment that comes from this movie, and I do agree. And I do think like I don't think this movie is like sexist in any sense. I do think also like as the writer Michael J. White also did like somewhat a commentary on the female portrayal of blaxploitation movies as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think like he was sexist, or he is sexist, at least like how it is portrayed in this movie.
Right.
And yeah, like the focus is also like just overall black empowerment, and like just also looking at yourself from the outside a little bit as well, or looking at your culture from the outside, enjoying it, realizing it, and those type of things.
Yeah, I think there's also this element of this action film that makes it more real than other action films. Because like in Fast and the Furious, they're fighting like Russian gangsters or Brazilian mobsters or whatever, right? But in Black Dynamite, they're fighting sort of a real power structure, like something that we see happen every day. Like our communities are flooded with drugs, alcohol, guns, and stuff like that, pimps, drug dealers, everything, and that goes all the way up to the president. And it seems like in this film, our reality is like sort of shifted, and there is a way to fight back against real forces, which brings it more home rather than watching Fast and the Furious, where you're like, oh wow, another car exploded, another Taliban member beheaded. Okay, we're done. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I definitely like the fact how like it's sort of he started with the neighborhood to find like those rotten eggs within the community, and then it went to like the Italian mobster guy went on to CIA, and then CIA went on to the president.
Yeah,
So like I really also like those chain of like power and how he was able to like conquer all of them.
yeah, yeah. Matt Villainy, you want to build on that?
Oh yeah, yeah. He went through the ranks. He followed the money, and saw it out through the end.
Yeah, yep. Took it all the way to the top. You dig? But yeah, so man, there's so much. We're barely like we're almost through with the first half, but we just now made it
Yeah.
to the pimp scene. Oh man, this was one of the best scenes in the film. So yeah, man, actually, basically O'Leary gives Black Dynamite his license to kill. He goes to the hospital, finds the orphans at the place who are full of drugs and stuff like that, and then takes Gloria to the hoe house while he goes outside to wage war on the drug dealers, right? So then we're taken to like all the pimps having like a meeting, and this scene was actually inspired by Willie Dynamite, and I sent you the link to that scene from the film. Did you get a chance to watch it?
Yeah, I did watch it.
Oh man, that was such great acting, was it not?
Yeah, it was definitely good.
Yeah. But do you want to break down the pimp scene?
Like in Black Dynamite.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, basically, okay, wait. I think it would be better if you did it.
Okay. Well, yeah, Black Dynamite shows up to this meeting of pimps, and the pimps are saying like the game is destroyed. We ain't never had nothing like this. These bitches ain't selling no ass. And there's like pimps with most of the pimps here were played by like really great comedians and also great actors. Like Bokeem Woodbine was one of the pimps. Oba Babatunde was one of the pimps. He's the OG pimp. So there's some great acting in this scene, and all the pimps are like very distraught about how there's not enough hoes selling ass and not enough tricks to go around. But they come to some conclusion that they need to collect it survives, whatever, right? And Black Dynamite walks in, and then he says, I'm here to let you guys know that anybody who's caught selling drugs in our community is an enemy to me. And then one of the pimps named Chocolate Giddy Up says, but Black Dynamite, I sell drugs in the community. And Black Dynamite says, that may be the case, but if you do, you're not a friend of mine. And then one of the other pimps says, I'm gonna do whatever I want, you dig? And he starts to laugh, and Black Dynamite threatens him and stuff like that. Man, did I get it all, Acty?
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, I feel like I messed that up.
No, I
But
dig it.
you dig it. But tell me, what did you think of that scene?
Yeah, I felt though this could have been like some reference to a movie or
Mm-hmm.
like just I don't know like a certain aesthetic
Mm-hmm.
because it was like it felt so rooted
Mm-hmm.
at this sort of thing, and every character was hilarious here. Like there
Mm-hmm.
was even like a white dude with a like sexy black girl on his lap,
Yes, and
and
his name was like a chocolate Jupiter or something like that.
the names were hilarious. Like right off the bat, even just like with the names, I was like laughing at it.
Mo bitches, chocolate giddy up.
Yeah, and the outfits were like outfitting like I don't
Yeah,
know. The outfits were just like crazy and I think also realistic. I would say, though I don't
yeah,
know that well.
mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was like overall a hilarious scene
Yeah.
and just like well made.
Yeah, one of the best scenes in the film. And Matt Villainy, what did you think about the meeting of the pimps?
Oh yeah, that definitely was a great scene. Yeah, I'd say it was one of the better scenes in the film, and yeah, you get to see all the characters in the meeting of the pimps.
Yeah, definitely. I want to see more of Chocolate Giddy Up. I don't know why. That name is hilarious. Him as a character was hilarious. I need a Chocolate Giddy Up like standalone short film at least. But yeah, Black Dynamite then leaves the meeting of the pimps, and he meets up outside with Cream Corn. Cream Corn comes out of nowhere and says, I want to help you, Black Dynamite. Black Dynamite is a bit untrustworthy of him because he's like, you almost got me killed by Chicago Dime. But then Cream Corn says, I, I actually owe your brother my life because I was going to be with Jimmy when he was going out there, but he told me to stay home, and I could have died. And then his friend who's always rhyming, what's his name, Acty?
Bullhorn.
Yeah, Bullhorn comes out of nowhere and says, "I can dig it," and they all agree to go to war with the drug dealers, right? So Black Dynamite hooks up with the militants and Cream Corn and Bullhorn, and they go to war with the Italian gangsters. So there's a montage of like shootouts, bombings, karate kicks, nunchucks flying, and it eventually ends with Black Dynamite flying the helicopter over the car of the Italian mobster, using a magnet to pick up his car and dropping it off of a cliff, exploding the car. Black Dynamite like laughs all the way back to the house with the black militants that helped him. What did you think of like the montage?
Montage was hilarious. There was like a scene where all the hoes were like fighting
Mm-hmm.
the drug dealers and stuff like that. It was like very very funny. And also I noticed like when he killed the Italian mafia guy,
Mm-hmm.
they used the same explosion footage from the Chicago Wind.
Oh wow.
So I don't know if that was like done on purpose or not,
Mm-hmm.
because I mean this was a 2009 movie, so I don't know like if that was a problem.
I think they did that because in the black exploitation films they would reuse certain scenes, I guess,
Yeah,
because it was low budget. So if
yeah,
we got
that's
one
what I
car
thought.
exploding, yeah, it was like that thing. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So yeah, even like I don't know if it was like which purpose they did it. I thought it was like so good,
Yeah.
and there was like a once again homage to like those times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I really like the montage, though. To some degree, I wish the film was a bit longer and had more of the action parts there, right? Because this film is sort of like that part of the montage is a film within a film, if that makes sense. Like that could have been the rest of the movie or a longer section of the movie, and I just wanted to see more of that.
Yeah,
From
I definitely thought like the movie was gonna end that like Black Dynamite finding the white mafia Italian mafia guy,
Mhm.
but like he died in the montage. So I was like, okay, I don't know like how further this would go.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And at that part, it's sort of like that's the part of the film I feel like it became less confusing for me because like everything up to that point was sort of like all over the place. Like we're looking for Jimmy's killer, now we're looking for the drug dealers. Okay, now we're killing this Italian mobster guy. And after the Italian mobster guy died, it's like okay, everything sort of cleared up and made it more straightforward for me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, for me as well because that sort of like tied up everything up until then.
Yeah, yeah. But Mad Villainy, any comments on the montage?
Oh, yeah, no comments. It was, I don't remember it.
Okay, okay. Well then, Actor, you want to pick up what happens there?
Yeah. So also like at the end of the montage, we see like the politician that was speaking in like the black community meeting. He
Mm-hmm,
was, I guess, like also involved because he had like ledgers which
mm-hmm,
the Black Panthers stole from him, and that's
mm-hmm,
how like they found all the guilty people that
mm-hmm,
were distributing drugs to the community. And
mm-hmm,
then like there's a scene where we see like little boy selling the newspaper saying like the smack is wiped off of the streets, and
mm-hmm.
it's like funny how everything Black Dynamite does like ends up on the paper. That was funny. And then like here we have like a I guess another montage of a date, a little bit
Yeah.
of like Gloria and Black Dynamite, which was hilarious. I was like dying here
Why?
because first like they're walking and he says like there's no I in revolution team. There's no I in team.
Yeah.
And then like there were little girls who were like skipping rope, and then they said like my mama said my daddy's name is Black Dynamite. Mine said that too. And then like Black Dynamite is saying it's a common name. And then they have like the montage of the park where like Gloria is running around trying to play with Black Dynamite, and Black Dynamite is just like standing there, not understanding what is happening, and like how Black Dynamite convinces Gloria to have sex with him.
Hmm.
Like he's saying,
He
you can
said, "You
either
either
go or you can come. You dig?"
yeah." That was great.
And like that dating montage was just yeah, it was great.
Was that not a great date?
That is such a great date. And then like they didn't show us like the sex scene, but there was like zodiacs and like zodiacs having sex.
It was a
I don't.
cartoon. It was a cartoon montage of zodiacs.
Yeah, like I don't know what the hell was that was about,
That was
but
actually really great. I thought that was one of the most creative ways to do a sex scene.
yeah, you know, it was very creative, and I enjoyed
Hello,
that.
hello. Yeah,
Hello?
yeah, we can hear you now. Go ahead.
Okay, I just didn't understand how that made sense. Like, why the zodiacs? I don't know,
Well,
or maybe that was a thing in the older
well, it's
movies.
like the '60s and '70s. Hippies, free love, the age of Aquarius. So it's bringing
Okay,
all that elements into it.
yeah, but I loved that scene. But what did you think
No,
about it?
the date was pretty funny. It was funnier the second time because like I didn't catch the part when like Gloria's like in the park trying to like say, "Hey, catch me," and Black Dynamite was like, "Whoa, I don't know what to do here." Like Black Dynamite maybe is autistic and he doesn't know how to play and have fun with people. He's always so serious. And yeah, it was great when they eventually like made love and stuff like that. And I like that. I just generally liked it. It was great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
and it's hard to believe like Sally Richardson at the time was like 40, like she was like 40 years old.
Well, she was
Yeah,
40 when this movie
yeah.
took
Sally
place.
Richardson is like 56 years old.
Damn. Oh, she's
That's
hot.
crazy. That's crazy. Matt Villeneuve.
She looks like 30
I
years
know, right?
old.
I know, right? Channeling that Pam Grier. Channeling Pam Grier.
Yeah.
But yeah, Matt Villainy, any comments on the date part or the sex scene?
Oh yeah, that was a good scene. I like the way they did it. as far as the creativity and the animation and whatnot.
Mhm.
And yeah, Sally Richardson is a hottie even now.
Yep, yep, yep. All right. So, shall we pick up from here, acting?
Yeah. So yeah, like they had sex, right? And then they're lying on bed, and Black Dynamite gets a call, and it's the Black Panthers, and they're saying like it goes all the way to the
Hmm.
top. Like we found the trail from the ledgers and things like that. So yeah, they go all the way to the top, and basically there's like they find at the end like a rich like white businessman, sort of,
Well, no,
I
yeah. So
guess.
basically, like the Black Panthers say, the drugs are coming into our community, and there's a bigger mission involved that somebody is planning to the Black community. And so they sit down together at a kitchen table, and Black Dynamite says, "We're going to break into this warehouse and find out what's going on." They pull up to the warehouse, all the radicals with Black Panthers with Black Dynamite as their leader, and they kill the guards, and then they capture, this white guy who is like the manager of the operation, and he says, "I ain't gonna tell you nothing, coon." And Black Dynamite smacks him over the head with a nunchuck, and then he says, "Oh, the drugs are in the over here, like in a crate." And then one of the radicals pulls out the dope and says, "Yep, it's right here." And then
No, 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 no. That's not
that
what
is what happened.
happened.
No, go ahead.
No, he says they're gonna kill me anyway. The white man says they're gonna kill me anyway, so I'm not gonna tell
Mhm.
you. And then they inject him with the truth serum.
Yeah, I was about to get to that part.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah. Basically, the guys, yeah, they inject him with the truth serum after they find the dope in the crate, and then the guy says, Code Kansas, you niggas ain't gonna be so big anymore. You niggas ain't gonna be so big and bad anymore." And everybody's just confused. And then the guy freezes. I guess they put too many drugs in his system, so then he doesn't talk anymore. The radicals then go through the warehouse and then find crates of malt liquor, and they're like, "I don't get this malt liquor stuff. Why is it malt liquor? This like it's just beer." And one of the guys says, "Oh, this is that new Anaconda malt liquor." And then he begins to drink it, and he says, "Damn, this is tasty." So they continue to search throughout the warehouse, but they don't find any more drugs, so they say. And then they are just confused as to why this is happening. And this part of the film was kind of like the most annoying part for me because I was like, it's so obvious it's malt liquor. Like if you're the audience watching it, you want to be held in suspense as to what's happening next. But it was like so obvious at that point. Now they do fix it later when the guys sit down at a cafe and they're doing a bunch of like crazy arithmetic and math and trivia and quizzing each other to figure out what it all means. But it was still kind of annoying for me. What did you think?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's what also like black exploitation movies did, or just like in general older like action sort of like gangster police movies. I feel like for the most part we can understand like who is guilty or what is going on if there's like some drugs and whatnot, and then yeah, so maybe it was channeling that and it was sort of on purpose. But yeah, like the whole I guess it was like pimp math, and they're like trying to figure out what code Kansas is. And yeah, they go to like Greek mythology and all of those things, and they sort finally figure out like there's a whole like comedy sequel there, I guess, and they figure out like what it actually means, which is like the malt liquor is used to shrink people's
Yeah,
penises.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, that was kind of like a plot twist, I guess, because I wouldn't have expected to you know be like involved with
Right,
penises.
right, right. Um, Now about the like pimp math stuff, like this whole breaking down of like Greek mythology, Roman history, wild trivia, that comes from like a part of Black culture where like people who are considered hoteps today or woke yesterday or the conscious community the year before, and I used to be a part of it because I used to be a 5%er. And the 5%ers, what we do is like we do today's mathematics. Like today is June 23rd. So today's mathematics is like wisdom understanding. And wisdom plus understanding equals power. And what does power mean? And you break all that down, right? And that comes from like a certain segment of like Black consciousness where it was like, how much knowledge did you know to be able to understand the white man's system and game? And that's what that scene symbolized in to me and like referenced to me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I also like of course I don't know this much of the historical
Mm-hmm.
context, but I also assume that they put that there sort of like to show like black people are like even if we are pimps or in the hoods at that time, we are still educated and we educate
Yeah.
ourselves. Sort of like that messaging, like not directly but
Yeah.
indirectly. Like even there was like a grandma there who was like saying,
Yeah.
scientific
Yeah,
stuff.
because Black Dynamite's asking questions like, who's the Greek god of war? And it's like Ares. Now, who's the Roman god of war? Like Mars or something like that. Now, what's Mars spelled backwards? Ram. What is a ram? The ram is a zodiacal sign for this. And then it goes all the way down to a snake. And then, Black Dynamite asks, what's the biggest snake in the world? And the old lady says, the South American anaconda. And then they go to the staff of Achilles or something like that. The staff that is used in like medical symbols to show, that healing is coming and stuff like that. And then they take it all down to like Little Richard. And Little Richard is like known for saying "woo," which is also used in the which is also used in the malt liquor commercial. And Black Dynamite says "Little Richard." He writes it there. And then what's another name for Richard? And everybody realizes it's dick. And that's how they figure out that the malt liquor is going to make people have little dicks. And then everybody gets up from the table and says, "Oh hell no!" Like it's gone too far. But yeah, going to Mad Villainy. What did you think about everything that happened up to that point and that scene? By the way, shout out Avery Adams in the building.
All right, shout out Avery Adams. yeah, I like that breakdown. To what they did. It went from the God of War and all the way down to Little Richard, and then yeah, that was a good scene.
Yeah, yeah. By the way, I see my guy Matt Villainy left a link to like this PSA saying "fight the smack in orphanages," and it looks like a pimp is talking about not doing drugs while he has two hoes on the shoulder. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. I thought that's not chocolate giddy up.
Is that chocolate giddy up?
I think
Okay,
so.
it says the video was created in 1973 as part of a Fit So campaign. Is that? I thought it was for real, but you're saying that's chocolate giddy up?
I think it is. Yeah.
Oh wow, oh wow. Okay. But yeah, I think now is a good time to talk about black penises acting. I just have to go on a rant real quick because I went off on your country in certain films how they make jokes about the black man's penis, and I feel like in this film, this film talks about the black man's penis as a something that needs to be attacked by the white supremacist society, and I feel like how they do it in this film is not directly related to fetishizing the black man's penis or glorifying it or something like that. I just feel like this it feels like just another attack that the white supremacists would do on black people if they have the power. Because what's one way we can take another leg of power from black men? Well, let's instead of everybody thinking black men have giant penises, let's make everybody, think that they all have small dicks, right? If that makes sense. Do you follow me, Acting?
Yeah, I do.
Did you feel like the film was like, playing with this idea about the black man's genitalia, which has been a problematic part of cinema and media for a long time? Do you feel like they were doing it in a negative way, like as like reinforcing that stereotype?
No, I don't think they were reinforcing the stereotype. I mean, yes, there was a stereotype of like a black man, the lead being like extra sexual,
Mm-hmm.
right? Constantly satisfying like all the girls around him and all the girls wanting to be with him. Like that was already sort of there throughout the
Mm-hmm.
story. And then like when it came to the penis part, like first of all, this like the when they find out like little Richard or Richard was getting
Mm-hmm.
smaller, one of their friends was drinking the
Mm-hmm.
liquor and they go up to him and see that like his dick has gotten
Mm-hmm.
tiny and then like they just say let's shoot him and then they ask him like should we shoot you and then like the guy basically shakes his head yes and then like they shoot him so it's like this is not only for black men but this is for all men thinking like they don't they're not really anything if they don't have dicks or if they don't have big dicks
Mm-hmm.
basically
Mm-hmm.
because he still had a dick. It was just
It was
smaller.
much smaller. They show it in the film like prominently, like they zoom into it multiple times.
Yeah it's yeah it's like a baby
It was a
stick,
clitoris.
right? Wow. But yeah, I think this is like critique of just like overall men thinking they're worth without a big dick,
Mm-hmm.
and also taking it back to white supremacy, yes, like since big dick is like a power
Mm-hmm.
thing, having black men having that sort of reputation is definitely like tarnishing and something that white supremacists don't want. But I don't think the movie is like fetishizing or approving this fetishization.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's sort of highlighting and I don't know, like saying like yes this is something that also happened in black exploitation
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
movies and this was a criticism that was like kind of right.
Right.
And like so what if the actual white supremacists like the like what if they're not trying to like just kill us but they're just trying to make our penises smaller,
Right.
like how ridiculous is
Right.
that?
Demasculinize us. Like,
Yeah, like as a plot, as a villainous plot, how ridiculous is that? And that's like where the parody comes in,
yeah.
you know.
Because it sort of works like two ways. Because like the white supremacists, all they do is think about black dick, right? But to some degree, black men, our masculinity is tied to our penis, much like how other men's masculinity is tied to their penis. But one of the few advantages, if you could call it that, of being black and being masculine and hetero is that your black dick is seen as something that is, desirable by a lot of society, right? So what is one way the white supremacists could knock us down a pedestal? It's by taking that away from us, right? Now, while Black Dynamite has BDE, energy, right? That exudes from him. He never talks about, hey, I got the biggest dick or something like that. I think women want him because he's masculine, he's manly, he's a protector, he's righteous, stuff like that. It's not because Black Dynamite has some anaconda. You get what I'm saying? I don't know if that makes sense. Acting.
Yeah, like we never like see his penis in the movie or like we don't even like hear the girls saying like oh you're so big and all of those
Mm-hmm.
things. So like yeah, he never talks about it, but for I think in the movie for Black Dynamite, like this is also just a thing so ridiculous that the man would
Yeah.
do.
And we also have to think about the major plot hole in this plan that the man has, the white supremacists have. Okay, you're going to sell malt liquor to make black men's penises smaller, but you're going to make it taste very good. So don't you think white people would drink it too? Don't you think everybody would just end up with small dicks? Like, it's such a major plot hole, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's why they put it there and that's why they made it like that. It's so
Yeah, it's
stupid.
really dumb. But Matt Villainy, you want to build on that?
Oh yes, so I mean, yeah, it was an interesting. I didn't expect that at all. I was uh, for the for it to go that way, but it makes sense within the story. Let's see. I think I don't know what to say about it. It's just,
Do you feel like
mhm.
the idea, or at least them putting this in the film, that the black man's penis is under attack? Do you feel like that reinforces that stereotype about us as black men, or do you feel like it's just it's not that deep?
I think I think that they're maybe like pointing towards it, but I don't think I think it was just a plot, part of the plot, and it wasn't meant to be taken too seriously. That's what I think.
All right, all right, all right. Thank you, thank you. All right, actor, you want to continue on in the story?
Yeah. So basically, after they killed their friend because he has a small dick now, they're saying like, okay, where do we go now? We have to go to the warehouse because that's where they are producing this
Uh-huh.
liquor. And they show up to the warehouse and they're saying like, who's the boss that's making this dick shrinking
Hmm.
poison? And yeah, they're like shooting up the warehouse, and Black Dynamite confronts. Basically, like understands that behind this operation is O'Leary, the detective guy from
Hmm.
CIA, and yeah, like he says like, I was just doing my orders, like I was just taking orders, and I didn't mean, for this to happen, but I have to do it. And basically like insinuating he's taking the orders from like someone
Hmm.
else. And then once again, Black Dynamite does like a weird trick with a weird name. Like he just like falls into the ground, and then he shoots the CIA cop, and then CIA cop says like, "Oh, the birthday cake candle trick." Like it doesn't make any sense, from like Vietnam once again. And then there he finds out like there's a, what is that called, like old telephone thingies.
Yeah. Oh man, it's a radio. It's like a walkie-talkie. Walkie-talkie.
Yeah, from a walkie-talkie he meets like the head of the
Hmm.
operation, which is like a Chinese
Yeah.
guy. And I didn't get the part that much, though I understand maybe there is like some social commentary, though I don't think it's that deep.
Hmm.
Like why the Chinese guys were like the head. Was it like because they were revenging him for Vietnam?
Mm. Mm.
Or was it because the movie was saying like, yeah, like the American government, the white supremacist American government sort of like uses anyone and everyone, regardless of race, for their own
Hmm.
benefit as well. Like just, anyone who's not white, or even if they're white,
Hmm.
like, yeah, we're gonna like, put them against each other and make them like kill each other and stuff like that.
Mm.
So yeah, because they were showing this Chinese guy talking to Black Dynamite at the same time they were showing a scene like
Yeah.
Vietnam. Like there were straw, plants, and yeah.
Yeah, see, the thing is, like, so Black Dynamite gets on the walkie-talkie after he kills O'Leary, and he's talking to the master on Kung Fu Island. Now, I think they just wanted to have a scene where Black Dynamite does karate, because I feel like this film is trying to do as many references to old black exploitation films. And there's a very famous film, cult classic, called The Last Dragon, where this black martial artist, his name is Bruce Leroy, he goes and fights a bunch of like Chinese men, right? And I feel like this part of the film was an homage to The Last Dragon and Bruce Lee films, so that's why they wanted to add that. But I do
Mhm.
think there was some degree of like, okay, let's have the Asian people try to get revenge on Black Dynamite, because he did admit in the earlier part of the film he was a part of firebombing Vietnam and destroying villages and killing innocent kids. So I do think there was a part of that, but it was also just, let's try to throw in some real kung fu here to test Black Dynamite skills. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean that like fighting kung fu scene was good. And once again, like there were some like ridiculousness to it because Bullhorn dies in that
Oh.
scene, right? When they confront the Chinese
Mm-hmm.
guy, they slit Bullhorn's like head
Mm-hmm.
basically, and then Black Dynamite holds his head, like catches it in the air,
Yeah.
which was like, something that would never happen again. And yeah, but we were all sad that Bullhorn died because we loved
I
his
was very
lines.
sad Bullhorn died, and basically all of the characters that we sort of loved, or that were the background characters to Black Dynamite, all the militants, they die instantly. Sort of like they walk into Kung Fu Island, they break into the warehouse, and Black Dynamite gets shot at. Black Dynamite says, "Where's that shot coming from?" And they all point one direction, and then one by one they all get knocked down. And I felt like that was sort of like a bad move for the film, because this could have had a sequel with all these characters coming back, but like basically everybody dies except Black Dynamite. I was very disappointed with that.
Yeah, we didn't want anyone to die.
Well, I wanted some people.
At least like not like the main characters.
Yeah, yeah, like spoilers, but Cream Corn dies, Bullhorn, so many characters. The only ones left standing is like Gloria
Yeah.
and Black. But I don't know, Matt Villainy, what do you think? Do you feel like they killed off too many of the main characters in this film, or was it necessary?
Oh yeah, I think they killing off everybody was not necessary. Um, it's I don't know uh, what the writers was thinking about in that plot,
Hmm.
or I'm trying to remember or anywhere in film history, but yeah, that was unnecessary.
Yeah. Now there is a two-season animated series of Black Dynamite where Cream Corn appears, where Bullhorn is there, and I think it's a lot of their adventures before the film. So if you do like this film a lot, you should check out the animated series online. and see more of their adventures. And I've heard that the series is actually good. But Actor, you want to build, or do you want to continue in the story?
Okay, I guess we can continue. So yeah, basically after all the kung fu scenes, like he's alone with the head Chinese guy, and Chinese guy reveals that like actually the government was trying to build bigger penis, which like makes no sense. A bigger penis for who? Like for the president or like for all the white dudes? Like it does not make sense. Which I think shows like how stupid white supremacists are. But then like it's ironic how successful they are as well. So I don't know. Like I guess power doesn't equal like intelligence. But anyway, so yeah, basically, when they were trying to build a bigger penis, they accidentally invented like the opposite of that, and they gave orders to produce like the liquor using that poison. And yeah, like Black Dynamite kills the Chinese head guy, and then with corn, what was his name? Cream corn. With cream corn, like he also the Chinese guy says like I'm taking things from the top, orders from the top. So they go to the very tippity toppity top.
Yeah, they find a helicopter. Cream corn and Black Dynamite find a helicopter, and they go to the honky house. And the honky house is what, Acting?
The White House.
That's what I'm calling it from now on. That's such a perfect name for it. The honky house. Go ahead.
Yeah, they basically fly the helicopter to the White House, and Black Dynamite jumps with a parachute. And at that point, like the helicopter gets like bombed, and Cream Corn dies there.
That was so sad. I feel like to some degree, Black Dynamite knew Cream Corn was going to die. I feel like he didn't have real love for Cream Corn.
Yeah, I mean, what could he? I mean, maybe they could have jumped together, but I don't know.
And the way he said Cream Corn, no, it looked like a bit like he wanted to laugh. Like, gotcha, bitch.
Wow. Well, at this point, he's seen like Bullhorn die, so Bullhorn was his best man.
No.
Anyway, so yeah, like as Black Dynamite is going down, he's like fighting all the white men in suits, like the Matrix guys,
Secret Service,
and yeah, like the servants, and then he ends up in the president's room, and he also like does an outfit change as well. And anyway, so he ends up like meeting the president, and the president knows him, and yeah.
No, it's Richard Nixon. You got to do the big reveal. He shows up in the White House. He smacks all the Secret Service guys who are coming out with like rocket launchers and guns, knocks them out with nunchucks after doing like a big outfit change, and walks in and says, "I knew it was you, Tricky Dick," who turns out to be Richard Nixon.
Okay, I don't know what Richard Nixon looks like, so I didn't get that part.
Richard Nixon was a virulent racist, like any white man of his era, but he was one of the worst anti-black racists we've ever had in office. And I hope Richard Nixon is burning in hell for every evil thing he did while he was alive. They got videotapes of him, it's not videotapes, audio recordings of him up in the White House using the N-word like it's nothing. And yeah, fuck Richard Nixon and fuck his mama too. But yeah, basically Black Dynamite kicks his ass in the office. And Richard Nixon is actually doing his own stunts too. He's using nunchucks, and Black Dynamite is about to beat his ass for real. But then his wife Gloria comes out of nowhere and shoots a plate Black Dynamite is holding and says, "Get your hands off the presidential China, you moon cricket." And I fell on the floor, goddammit, because I have not heard moon cricket in a long ass time. I swear to God, that's one of those old school racial slurs. Like for all the racists online and stuff like that, like I'm tired of getting called nigger. Like y'all got to start calling us spades, moon crickets, like that sort of stuff, like old school slurs, because those old school slurs are hilarious to me. I don't know if you caught that. The moon cricket part.
I mean, I never heard that. I guess it was like a racial slur because it came from her. But I do not know how is that like a racial slur? I don't know. But anyway, let's not give any like racist advices on how to use racial slurs.
I just want them to be more creative. I just want them, like Mad Villainy. Aren't you? I'm gonna ask my guy Mad Villainy. What's your favorite old school black slur? What's the one? Because I'm tired of getting called nigger. I want to be called a spook. You get what I'm saying? Remember when white folks used to call us spooks, spades, boons and coons? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna say a racial slur, at least be more creative about it. You're right about that. I don't have a favorite because I don't like.
Yeah, my favorite. My favorite is Porch Monkey. I love that one.
Porch Monkey, Spear Chucker, Moon Cricket, Spade. God damn. White folks used to be so like good back in the day. Like white folks used to have like a way with words. They ain't got that no more. What happened?
A mud pie.
Mud pie. Goddamn.
Shit. So many, man. So many. Yeah, those probably my two favorite. Mud pie and Jigaboo.
God damn. Hey, but we sort of like flip that though, because like at least in Louisiana now we say we jigging, these stuff like that. But yeah, Jigaboo was a good one.
Yeah.
Jigaboo, Sambo, man, sorry, Acty.
I had to turn my mic.
No, it's fine. I've never heard of these before.
I had to turn my mic on for this. Hold on. Now we talking my language. Coon. Jigawog.
Which one? What's up?
House slave.
House slave. Oh man. Cotton picker, all that stuff, man.
You could do a monkey chant too. Don't forget that.
Oh yeah. Man, what happened to white folks, man? That was just N-word this, N-word that, man. They used to be He used to go hard.
They're not creative. They're not creative at all. That's why they copy us all the time.
Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the facts? Oh man, I got sidetracked. I'm in tears. I'm in literal tears right now. Actually, go ahead.
Okay, I'm continuing with the
Okay,
scene.
go ahead.
So yeah, basically they start fighting Nixon versus Black Dynamite, and I think you will say something about this part of it, where like, yeah, after Black Dynamite like slaps Nixon's wife, right? That's his wife. He's like almost Black Dynamite almost like gets Nixon, but then he finds like a gun that is framed, and it says like this gun was used by someone to assassinate Abraham Lincoln, right? I don't know who it is. I don't remember.
John Wilkes Booth killed Abraham Lincoln.
Yep.
Yeah, and then like Nixon pulls up the gun to Black Dynamite, and we're thinking like, okay, maybe he's gonna die, but then Abraham Lincoln's ghosts come, and then slaps the gun out of Nixon's hand, and Black Dynamite basically like takes over and beats the shit out of Nixon.
And then he shows Nixon a bunch of photos saying, like, this is what you wanted to get from Watergate. And it was Nixon getting tied up and spanked by, like, a dominatrix. And Nixon begs Black Dynamite to kill him. But Black Dynamite says, no, that would be too easy for you. What I'm going to do is if you don't want these pictures to come out, you got to do better for the Black community. And Nixon says, okay, Black Dynamite, thank you, thank you. Then Black Dynamite then goes to apologize to Gloria. He says, I'm sorry, Gloria, for pimp slapping you into the China. But you almost tried to shoot me. And then Gloria says, oh, Black Dynamite, you're so righteous. Even though I tried to kill you, you're forgiving me. And then other Gloria. I just now realized there were two Glorias. He had two Glorias because Black Gloria comes. Black Gloria comes and jumps into Black Dynamite's arms. And Black Dynamite then says, anywhere there's injustice, Black Dynamite will be there. And then the two women, both Glorias, hold onto his legs. And that's the end of the movie. And yeah, what'd you think about the ending?
It was really good. Once again, there was like different commentaries with like Abraham Lincoln showing up, and yeah, I don't know what to think about that, honestly, because I know like now a lot of like Black folks are realizing that Abraham Lincoln wasn't like a supporter of Black people, and he sort of like did everything for his own power or because he had to. But yeah, like I don't know if you have any commentary about that. I'm not that informed. Like I don't have that much information about it. But overall,
yeah. As far as like the Abraham Lincoln part, it kind of bothered me a bit because I was like, in almost every movie, like in Black Panther, they have to have a white guy come in to like help the Black person succeed, like to show white people, hey, this film is not trying to say all of y'all are bad. That's what it felt like. Like white people might watch this movie and be like, well, not all white people are like this, guys. But they threw Abraham Lincoln in here to say like, oh, a good white ally is necessary for Black success. That's how it made me feel. I don't know if you caught that.
Yeah, that was such a good white bro voice, Simon.
I'm sorry.
But anyway, yeah, that's I felt that a little bit as well. Like, was that necessary? I don't know. But overall, I thought like the ending was good. Once again, it was like full of humor and how like he sort of was apologizing to the white lady as well, but like the white lady was like sort of mesmerized by him and his righteousness. Yeah, like I thought it was a good ending to a good movie.
Yeah. I like the ending too. Once again, it's a cathartic release for Black men to watch this film, or anybody who understands white supremacy to watch this film. And just for an hour and a half, you feel like you're able to overcome, or there is a way to fight against, the power structure that sort of keeps us oppressed and stuff like that. I felt it. I'm gonna go to Matt Villainy. What did you think of the ending of the film?
Yeah, it was a good ending. I'd say, yeah, I don't have any notes on it.
I'm gonna ask you, comparing this film to Undercover Brother, which one do you feel like is a superior film?
Oh, I got to go back and watch that. But I'm gonna go ahead and say this one is.
Really? Because I feel like, Black Dynamite is a good film, but I feel like Undercover Brother was like a great film because I feel like the jokes were more on point. They sort of updated the blaxploitation to the modern era. Plus, you have Dave Chappelle in it, and Dave is hilarious in almost anything he does. So, and Eddie Griffin, I feel like, is a great comedic actor, and I feel like that film is criminally underrated. So, even though I like Black Dynamite,
Yeah.
I feel like Undercover Brother is awesome. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back and watch it, and I'll let you know.
Yeah. I don't know if Avery, if you've seen either of these films, but if you've seen Undercover Brother, I mean, let us know if you have, if you're here.
I haven't seen this. As soon as I saw the title, I thought this was Dolomite, like the shit on Netflix. Yeah, I haven't seen this at all, Black Dynamite. And I haven't seen, you said the other brothers?
Undercover Brother with Eddie Griffin and Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, I haven't seen both of those.
Take
my black card. Take my black card.
No, it's not about black card. No. But actually, you've seen both. Actually, we watched Undercover Brother. Like, comparing the two, which one do you feel like is better?
It's so hard because like Undercover Brother is also like just really smooth and hilarious. But I guess I will also give it to Undercover Brother just because like the storyline was a bit clearer in that one, and it was like, just more updated.
Yeah.
I guess. Well, actually, like Undercover Brother is older.
Yeah, that film was made in
But
2004 or something, and this was 2009.
yeah, it's 2002. But I don't know, like I guess since I don't know that much like of I didn't know at least that much of like black exploitation movies, that was just like easier for me to understand. Even though it is a parody of that as well, but I don't know, it was just like a bit more like relatable in terms of the jokes and the
Yeah,
comedy.
and plus it's like
And
white
yeah,
she devil, the man, like Dave Chappelle's character, like militant brother, smart brother. You get what I'm saying? Like there was some funny. It was really funny. I really love Undercover Brother, but yeah,
yeah. But I do think like the cinematography of Black Dynamite is better.
yeah,
Like the shots and the camera they used, and also like the shots where like how they have the close-ups and they have like the they zoom out and you see like the character from town and like those things that was better in Black Dynamite.
yeah. This one is more true to the form and the essence of black exploitation, while Undercover Brother is like a new spin on it. And yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. But I really like this film. There's a lot here to enjoy. It's something that I would probably watch again, like in a few years, just to have something on to entertain myself. I give it a solid eight, or maybe a 7.5, just because how the first half is so disjointed, and also like I feel like it could have been a bit longer. Like I feel like there's a lot of scenes on the cutting room floor that would have been great to add in there for just comedic effect. Really loved all the acting. Shout out to Michael J. White. Shout out to Tommy Davidson. Shout out to Oba Babatunde, Sally Richardson. Everybody held it down so well with their roles. So I'm somewhere between 7.5 and 8 for me. You acting?
Yeah, I think I'm good. I'm just gonna give it like a 7. Everything was like cool. The acting was good. There was some social commentary. There was some symbolism. The jokes were hilarious. Yeah, and like the points that I took down is just like, even though this is also like a very valuable art, I do think like it's more like a for the purposes of just like chilling and having fun. So yeah, that's a little bit. I guess it's just like a personal preference. And yeah, like the storyline in the beginning a little bit as well. And I do think there could have been like, I don't know. I guess like the music was written for this movie,
Yeah, there's
right?
like scenes where like Black Dynamite is like driving somewhere and the music says, he heard his brother was killed. He's gonna do what he
Yeah.
wills. Like shit like that.
Yeah, I think like if they did like a whole songs just specifically for this movie, I would have liked to see that like more, or like heard it more a little bit as
Yeah.
well.
Like how King Wallonius is like making BBL Drizzy remixes, stuff like the AI remixes where they like that would have been funny, but that didn't exist at the time. But go ahead.
Yeah, no, like I think the music was good, but I just like it was like so vague that I wasn't even sure like if this music is made for the movie or is it like a song. Like if they went through all that effort, I would have liked it to be like more
Yeah,
obvious.
yeah. I'm sure there's a soundtrack. I'm sure
Uh,
the soundtrack for this film is really good.
yeah, I looked it up as well. There
Okay,
is,
okay.
but yeah, that's 7 is my
7.
score.
Okay. All right, Matt Villainy score. Final thoughts.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it 8.9.
Okay.
8.9, and I wanna get rid of toxic masculinity just for Aki. I want to get rid of it. Can we get rid of it?
As long as you want it, you can.
I'm
I just.
get rid of it.
All right. If we're getting rid of toxic masculinity, are we also getting rid of white supremacy?
I want to. I wish. I don't know how I could do it, but I'm
I
gonna
think
be
it's
thinking, how do we get rid of it?
I think it's impossible for both.
I mean,
Can't do it.
I think it's possible to have a world without white supremacy and toxic masculinity. We just have to reprogram
yeah,
ourselves.
the first step is like realizing it and accepting it, apologizing for the things that you should apologize for, and then also like just keep on educating people about both of the issues, and that's where it all starts, I think.
I don't know. I think there's a baby born every day, and there's a white, parents sitting there with a color board saying no to brown and black, and they're just spinning through colors, just training. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think it's kind of hard.
Mm.
That's true, but like there's also more people who are realizing the disgusting power of white supremacy, like myself. Because I didn't know the term white supremacy, but I learned it. So the more people know about it, the more advocates that we will get.
Yeah, I think the difference is that I think we're thinking of white supremacy as racism. Of course, white parents might teach their kids, hey, black is bad, brown is bad, but that's different than them having all the economic power, all the military power, all the social currency. You get what I'm saying? Like what we want.
Okay.
Yeah, like, of course, white folks might be racist, but they could be racist while we have just as much money as them, just as much opportunities as them, just as much, legal protection as them. That's what we want. That's my opinion on that. But Avery, what you think?
Mm, I agree. I also think that status and obviously just the hierarchy of money, who has the most of it or where is it leaning the most, also plays in the factor of racism. I think money amplifies personal feelings. You know what I mean? It just turns you into a worse person. And do we have people in our community who are worse? So if money is equal and they have more than what they normally would we some of our people become racist too as well? Because I think it ties in to power in a way.
Well, yeah, I mean, we see that all the time. Like, brother makes a ton of money, moves into a white neighborhood, and then tries to teach his kids, okay, we're going to send you to this private school. Go hang out with Billy and Sally,
Yep.
Like, we see that all the time. But I think what we're trying to do, in dismantling white supremacy is that, they got 150 years leg up off of our labor. They were able to build the richest, most powerful, most advanced nation in the world off of generations of people working for free.
True.
And now what we want to do is like reverse that, not enslave them, but we
I was
just
about to
want
say
people.
let's whip their asses and put them in jail. But go ahead, my bad.
I mean, that would be like, just to be, let's keep it absolutely a buck. Like, if that did happen, that would absolutely be fair, right?
I think we could. I think that's why some of them are so hold on so tight to their guns, right? Because I'm sure they know that they will get. I mean, they would just get manhandled. Most of them. Obviously, there's outliers, but I just don't think they have the force and the aggression to even put. They did it unknowingly because we weren't. I don't know. I wouldn't want to say we weren't smart at that time, or we just got caught up in something. I'm not sure what the best word to describe it. But they took advantage of that opportunity. But they could be taken advantage of even now today if all of us really banded together. I mean, I'm not trying to sound like Malcolm X, but you get what I'm saying.
No, I mean, we need to stop tiptoeing around the idea of having revolution in that way. And I'm with you on that. I think, we also have to consider what is realistic to some
Yeah,
degree. And
right.
we also want, what we don't want is to be as evil as they are, in my opinion, right? Like, I don't have a hate for white people. I don't, dislike white people as an entire block. We just want fair treatment, legal protection, the same amount of wealth, the same amount of opportunity. And that's going to have to come with them giving up some power. And that's ending white supremacy. It's not ending racism. We can't end racism.
Yeah.
And, you know,
Yeah.
that's just my take on it. But
Yeah.
I was actually thinking about writing about something like this, like the possibility of violent revolution, of actually, using that stick, or at least the threat of the stick, as a way to, sort of convince them to give up power. Because the way
Yeah.
things are going, we're eventually going to have that explosion. But go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I just want to say real quick. I don't know if the violent way is going to be the way. I mean, if it is, it is. But I don't think that. I think we can. I think there's a better way.
Yeah, I think it's just wishful thinking on my behalf. I know it's not going to actually transpire or work, but it's just wishful thinking. But I would say what's called it still happens in the workplace. I would say because I experienced it. And this is probably getting off topic, but what you're just talking about. I mean, it still happens today. I mean, in all facets of life. So even me, I feel like I still feel out of place in some of the roles I'm in. Because I'm surrounded by a whole bunch of white people, and they're always older than me. I'm always the youngest person in the office. So I'm always the youngest person on the team. I'm always surrounded by older white people, and I do feel like there's a little bit of it's just never going to change. I mean, they have to play nice at work, but sometimes you can just tell. You know what I mean?
No, I feel you, brother, because that's what I'm going through. That's what I've been going through all my working life. So I know exactly where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, Matt Villainy, if you want us to end toxic masculinity, we got to kill white supremacy first. That's the
Yeah,
root.
that's the root. Yeah, the root of it, man. That's what I was thinking about. It's like it's the root. It's a lot. Like to me, I say even the at least the American education system is rooted in white supremacy.
And toxic masculinity. So we got to get rid of toxic masculinity by getting rid of white supremacy.
Let's get
Yeah. I don't know if you're still there. You there? Okay. Actor, you got anything you want to add on?
No, I mean, I was just enjoying like your conversation.
Yeah. But I,
So
I appre- I appreciate your commentary, Avery.
well,
Go ahead.
yeah, I was gonna say that's all I have. I mean,
well.
Yeah, we can hear you, Matt Villainy. All right, but well, thank you everybody for coming into this movie review. This was a very great discussion. I would like to continue this conversation, and yeah, if you got any film requests you want us to do, any topics you want us to cover, leave it in the comments, leave it in the chat, and
real
thank you.
quick.
Oh, go ahead.
So side question: where our boy at, bro? I haven't seen him in a
I
while.
have not seen Nelson either. I actually was like kind of looking for him because I wanted to check on him. I
Yeah,
don't know.
I'm hopefully he, I just want to check on him too. Hey, hopefully he's well. You know what I mean? All right, just that's aside. I was wondering if you talked to him. I haven't seen him. It's kind of odd.
Yeah. I think he deleted his account. I don't know, man. I didn't say anything to him. I didn't.
All right,
Yeah.
all right,
Actually,
cool.
yeah. But Acme, thank you once again for doing this with me. I appreciate you. I love you so much.
I love you too, and it's always like so enjoyable to have these talks with you.
Aw. And yeah, so more film requests, please send them in. And y'all keep on watching and supporting and appreciate the commentary. My guy, Matt Villainy, once again. Any last words before we cut this short? No? All right. So y'all be easy out there and peace.
Peace.